Good morning. Welcome to Unity of Mesa, a spiritual community that offers and invites you to use practical spiritual tools to enlighten yourself, empower yourself, and energize yourself. Unity of Mesa is part of a larger spiritual movement that builds consciousness. It's a consciousness of love, joy, and peace, a consciousness that begins in the heart of God. But from God's heart to your heart, God's heart to your heart, and to your heart, we soon have a community of hearts beating as one, knowing that there's only love, joy, and peace for us to experience in our lifetime. So welcome to participating in the salvation of the world and the salvation of yourself by building that consciousness. I'm going to invite John Groves, who's our platform today, and before he begins to speak, I'll let you know that Kirsten Plambeck is our vocalist, Jenn Crandall's on the piano, Nickie Golden is our speaker, and Louise Zeman is our board member of the day.
Thank you all for sharing your love and light with us this morning. Please know you are welcome here. And now let's share our guiding statements for affirming why we come together.
We are here to experience more of the fullness of who we truly are in order to transform the world. All are welcome here. I'm going to invite you to stand. We're singing a congregational, which sounds very church-like. We are singing a song by Ricky Byers-Beckwith called Holy, Holy Way. Okay, I'm the intro.
Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way. Let me love in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way. Let me love in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me know that love is all around. Let me know that love is all around. Oh, let me know that love is all around. Let me know that love is all around. Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me live in a holy, holy way. Let me live in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me live in a holy, holy way. Let me live in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me know that love can heal us all. Let me know that love can heal us all. Oh, let me know that love can heal us all. Let me know that love can heal us all. Oh, let me live in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me live in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me live in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me live in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way. Let me love in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way. Let me love in a holy, holy way.
Well, joining me on the platform this morning, we have Shannon Kessler, who is our Youth and Family Ministry Teacher of the Day, and she is going to share the affirmation.
I'm just going to breathe in the holy, holy way
Yes.
as I affirm that I am open to see things in a different way. Please share that with me.
I am open to seeing things in a different way. Now, Shannon, as you know, the privilege of sharing the affirmation is that you get to either push the button and the batteries have been replaced, or you can do it manually.
Okay. Where is the button?
Yeah, there you go. Thank you so much, Shannon, and thank you to our youth as you go off to your program. The rest of us bless you by saying, children, we love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the Christ you are. Reverend Nickie, would you give me the clicker? We're starting a new thing here at Unity of Mesa, and we call it Diversity Sunday. And what we do is take a look at the holy days and holidays that are going to be celebrated around the world by different spiritual traditions, different religions, and different countries as holidays. So starting off with diversity events, yes, we did that. Wake al-Arafah is a Muslim holy day. It's during the Hajj. Many of the people who are having that pilgrimage experience go up to the top of the mountain to pray on July 9th. Also on July 9th is the celebration, the honoring, the memorial of the martyrdom of the Bab. He was considered the messenger of God. He brought a new interpretation of spirituality and religion, particularly supporting the human rights of every single human being, including women and the poor. He taught for 6 years. One of his followers was Baha'u'llah, who started the Baha'i faith. July 13th is Asala Puja Day. It's a Buddhist holy day that celebrates the first time after enlightenment that the Buddha himself gave a sermon. And many Buddhist traditions light candles and gather around and remember the words that he shared on that day. July 15th is a not very well-known Christian holiday. It honors Swithin, who was a Saxon bishop, and it is believed that on July 13th, which is his day, if you go outside and it's sunny, it will be sunny for the next 40 days. And if it is raining, it will be raining for the next 40 days. He is the patron saint of barbecue. Haile Selassie I's birthday is celebrated on July 23rd. He considered himself and was considered by many in the Rastafarian faith that he was the incarnation of God, the current incarnation of God. And it is also said that his lineage traces back to the union between King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba. Pioneer Day is celebrated by our friends who are Latter-day Saints, who are Mormon, who mark July 24th, 1847 is the day that they came into what we now call the state of Utah. It's where the largest LDS community settled, and the faith in their religion actually took hold and began to expand to the way it is today. So we honor our LDS brothers and sisters on July 24th. Historic birthdays in July 4th, even though that Coco passed in 2018, her birthday was on July 4th, and we celebrate her and all of her beloved kittens. She had many cat pets, including, she could do 1,000 ASL signs, including Smokey. Okay. Tom Hanks, an amazing actor, I think one of the best living actors of our time. He's coming out in a new movie about Elvis. He's one of 2 actors in all of movie history who have won back-to-back Oscars for Academy Awards for Best Actor, he and Spencer Tracy. And then the third one is on July 18th. That is Nelson Mandela's birthday, a man who changed the world. He really did change the world. In the month of July, it is anti-boredom month. And I know that kids are pictured here, and maybe they think because kids are not in school that they get bored, but Adults who are not in school also get bored sometimes. So anti-boredom month, you can play, you can go outside, you can go shopping. The malls are mostly air conditioned here in Arizona, and you can do all kinds of things. You can read, you can just do all kinds of things. My mother used to say, tired was not in her vocabulary. Bored is not in my vocabulary. It's National Ice Cream Month. In honor of our country's birthday next week, a donor has sponsored Ice Cream Sunday. We're all going to trot over to the annex. If you want to be here too, watching online and have a Sunday, please raise your hand so we can get a count. And then, I'm serious, raise your hand if you think you're going to be here and you're going to want to eat an Ice Cream Sunday, even if it's dairy-free ice cream. Yeah, okay. So is somebody counting so we know how much ice cream to buy? Sprinkles, whipped cream, toppings, so fun. And if you want to volunteer to serve, see Nancy Spence, who's standing in the back of the room, or you can email her at nancy@unityofmesa.org. Thank you. It is Postal Workers Day on the 1st. My grandpa was a postal worker. Independence Day, our country celebrates its birthday on the 4th. On the 11th, this is very important to note, if you have a pet, please take a picture of your pet and share it with someone. It's Pet Photo Day. The 20th is Fortune Cookie Day, which is usually all kinds of fun if you are encountering a fortune cookie. And the last thing I want you to know that happens before July, and that is on this day, 14 years ago, the minister at the time, which was Reverend Joel Baer, approved a project, WAMIMS, and that may not be, but that's how I wrote it down on my hand. It's Walk a Mile in My Shoes. Donna Christine Park is the head of that project, which continues today, collecting gently used shoes and giving hundreds of thousands of them away to people who need them. Thank you very much. Yay, now we're gonna have a song.
God, you are every mountain. God, you are every ocean. God, you are every canyon, every inch of earth and sky. God, you are every morning. God, you are every midnight. God, you are every moment, every second of my life. Everything I see, everything I do, everything I am is you. Everything above, everything below, everything I know is you. God, you are every sunrise. God, you are every moon glow. God, you are every star shine, every inch of earth and sky. God, you are every springtime. God, you are every snowfall. God, you are every season, every second of my life. Everything I see, everything I do, everything I am is you. Everything above, everything below, everything I know is you. 'Cause you are the very breath I breathe, and your perfect love created me. Everything I see, everything I do, everything I am is you. Everything above, everything below, everything I know is you. Everything I see, everything I do, everything I am is you. Everything above, everything below, everything I know is you.
Jenn, Crandall, did you recognize that she was singing about prosperity? Did you recognize it? Got some yeses. Anybody else? She was singing prosperity. God, you are everything. I'm going to read this because I'm not, excuse me. Sorry. Everything I see, everything I do, everything I am is God. Say that with me. Everything I see, everything I do, everything I am is God. Now take a breath into that. Everything I see, everything I do, everything I am is God. Can you own that? Yes, I'm seeing some yeses. It might be hard to own because it might feel a bit audacious, like, oh, the lightning bolt's going to strike. So you might see a little bit of my Southern Baptist embedded theology there. The lightning bolt's going to come down when I own the power of my own divinity. Are you willing to own the power of your divinity? Are you willing to stand in the knowingness that everything that is of God is of us? It's there. And our task, our job, our calling, and I really truly believe that it is a calling. Our calling is to bring it forth. To bring forth that one presence and one power that's active in the universe, that's active in our lives. And to let it shine, to really stand in the knowingness that everything, including us, is God. So part of what we have to do with this, in that knowing, is to let God go as a person and truly embrace the principle, the spiritual principle of God. And that doesn't mean we have to let go of the idea that God is personal, because the principle is going to be personal to us. The principle is going to be part of, and how we express that principle is part of how we do prosperity, how we live prosperity. And we're talking about prosperity today. So I have another question for you. Are you willing to open to the fact that everything that is unlimited about God is also unlimited within you? That's another audacious kind of idea. Because we think, wow, well, at least I do. I can't speak for you. I think sometimes, I think about some of the things I've done in my life. How can I be the presence and the power of God? How can I be prosperity in this world when I think about some of who I've been? And yet who I've been, as I'm looking at it today, and I'm looking back here at who I've been, I'm really looking from a different level of consciousness, a different state of consciousness. And prosperity is our state of consciousness. Prosperity is our well-beingness. Prosperity is how we show up in the world. Prosperity is what moves through us. It's that spirit and the energy of God, the divine, whatever name you want to use for it, that moves through us every moment of the day. Are you willing to open your arms wide and say, yes, I accept the prosperity of an unlimited, infinite creator? Are you willing to do that? Do it. I open my arms and I am willing to accept the prosperity of an unlimited and infinite creator. And who's the creator? So Say with me, I am prosperity.
I am prosperity.
Say it again.
I am prosperity.
Say it again. I am prosperity. So you have already begun to lay the energetic tracks of prosperity in your life, no matter what's gone before, because the only moment that is right here, right now. Say it again. I am prosperity. I am prosperity. I am prosperity. Another layer of that energy. Is that something you want in your life? Yeah. Yes. Okay, let me give you a definition of prosperity. Ta-da! There we go. Whoops, I went too far. Excuse me. Health, joy, love, success, money. This is sort of my definition. Health, being in good health. Prosperity is well-being. So being in good health, knowing beyond a shadow of a doubt that even when I exhibit some symptoms of an illness, that the core of me is radiant health. One of Charles Fillmore, who was the co-founder of Unity, one of his close friends, E.B. Ingram, used to say, we are powerful manifestors because in the midst of radiant health, perfect health, we can manifest illness. In the midst of abundance that is everywhere present, we can manifest lack. And I'll be talking a little bit about how we do that. But isn't that amazing? The first time I ever heard that, I was sitting in a metaphysics class that I was just hanging out in because I was fascinated by the way this particular teacher was teaching metaphysics. He had been one of my metaphysics teachers. His name is Reverend Dr. Paul Hasselbeck. Some of you may have known him. And I was in Orlando, Florida, and I was teaching another class, and I was sitting in this class, and he shared about E.B. Ingram, and I was like, wow, I don't think I've ever taken that in. I'm sure I heard it before, but I don't think I had ever taken it in. So we can hear things, we can think things, we can read things, but taking it in, that's why I'm asking you, are you open to really embracing, to embodying the prosperity that is available to you? And the answer is yes. Are you open to embodying, to embracing the prosperity that is available to this beautiful, magnificent spiritual community?
Yes.
Yes. Each of you individually bring your consciousness, which means you're bringing your prosperity. You're bringing your health, your joy, your love, your success, your money. You're bringing whatever else you would put on those dots if I had left them blank, because that's your unique, individualized expression. And each time you think about Unity of Mesa, each time that you give, whatever it is, whether you're giving your time, your talents, your treasure, each time you enter this door and create a welcoming community, one that says, hey, I'd like to know, is this your first time? I'm sorry, I haven't been here in a while. Or maybe it's like, oh, is this your first time? I haven't seen you before. When we create that welcoming community, we are living in prosperity. When we're willing to step forth and we're willing to greet each other in love, no matter the differences that we have, no matter whether they're religious, whether they're political, whether they're opinions, and I have a lot of them, so sometimes I have to put my opinions aside in order to be present with people. When we can do that, we are opening to prosperity in this spiritual community. And the moment we open to prosperity in this spiritual community, we are also opening, think about concentric circles, we are opening to prosperity to be evident in the world. We are the ones that we've been waiting for, really. We are the ones that are the channel, the presence and the power of God on this planet right here, right now. And so if you are here on this planet, you are here for a holy purpose. Say that with me. I am here for a holy purpose. We are here for a holy purpose. And I believe that prosperity is a part of that purpose. Reverend Mindy and I take prosperity classes sometimes at the Johnny Coleman Institute. Reverend Galen McDowell is our teacher. And he loves this minister from New York City. His name is Reverend Ike. I used to live in New York City, and I used to work up in Harlem, and so I was a teacher there. And I would be on the streets with some of my kids, walking around and going to different places, and I would hear Reverend Ike. And I would hear what he had to say, and I would think, oh, church, religion. And that's really what I believed in. It's like, oh, church, religion, that's not for me. But I would hear him talk about prosperity. And it was a long time before I ever was willing to step inside a church. And here I am now, leading and serving in a church. So that seed of prosperity was planted sometime in the 1980s. And Reverend Ike was on an interview with this man who was really focused on money. And the interviewer kept sort of pushing the bounds of money with Reverend Ike, because Reverend Ike talked about money a lot, but he also talked about other things. And when he listed prosperity, money was at the bottom here of his list. And the only thing that the interviewer could think about was money. And so Reverend Ike gave his list several different times, and the interviewer kept coming back to money. But all you do in your ministry is promote money. And there are people that think that. I have a brother that thinks that, actually, that ministers are only always asking for money. But when we open up and see a wider view, when we open our world view to what prosperity really is, then we can see something different. The word prosperity comes from the word that means well-being. The word wealth comes from a word that actually means wholeness. So when we talk about prosperity, when I talk about prosperity, when Reverend Mindy talks about prosperity, we're looking at it metaphysically. We're looking at it as the wholeness that we all are. So that is why I ask you the question, are you open to accepting that you are unlimited prosperity? Are you willing to receive it? Because it's already a part of you. It takes faith. The writer of Hebrews says, faith is the assurance of things that hope for, the absolute conviction that there are realities you've never seen. Now, this is a little bit different translation. This is the Voice. So listen to this piece again. The absolute conviction that there are realities that you have never seen. Have you ever seen somebody's aura? Some of you have. Some of you are shaking your head. Have you ever seen electricity flying through this room? This room that we're in? Or your home? We see the impact of it. We see the effect of it. But we rely day by day on things that are impacted by an invisible something or other. The wind. Have you ever seen the wind? I've seen the impact of the wind. I see the leaves that are all over the yard after the wind has been blowing for a little while. I see trees down when I used to live in hurricane land because the wind was so strong. But I didn't see the wind. So the wind is a great example of something that we rely on for the absolute conviction that there are realities that you have never seen. You have only seen the impact. The same is true with prosperity. If you're wondering what your prosperity is, look at your life. And I'm not trying to be judgmental here. I'm trying to give you a skill. Look at your life. Observe your thinking. Notice when you have those thoughts, and there's nothing wrong with those thoughts that say, oh, I can't afford this. Oh, I want that, but I don't think I'd ever be able to have that. Reverend Mindy and I used to drive down this particular street in North Carolina in a lot of places that we were headed for, and there was a Powerball sign that would change regularly about how much you could win the Powerball lottery. And we used to laugh and say, we could win that. And we'd say, but we'd have to take an action. And what would that action be? Buy a ticket. We only bought a few tickets, but that wasn't my primary focus of prosperity. I thought it was fun to play that game with her. Hey, look, it's $4 million. We could win that. What would you do with $4 million? That was the next piece of our game. And we would just play it. We're playing in our minds with prosperity when we do that. When I notice I'm in lack thinking, I catch myself, I do my best not to judge myself, and then I play in prosperity thinking, such as this game that I'm telling you about. I also want to give you another quote. The law of prosperity is already within our minds, pressing to act. So there's a law of prosperity that's already within us. It's in our minds. It's in our hearts. It's pushing up against us to take an action. And our job is to release it for our daily needs, to open the channels for the expression of prosperity. And how do we do that? How do we open those channels? We start to notice what our thinking is. We start to notice what our feeling is. And we start to notice, what do I want? Step one, what do I want? This can be a hard one for many people because we've either been told we want too much. We've been told it's not okay to have wants. We've been told we're supposed to put other people's wants ahead of us. Oh no, don't think about yourself. Think about so-and-so. So we have to be able to embrace that we have wants. Can you say that? I have wants. I have wants. That may be harder than saying I desire prosperity and I'm open to it. We have wants. I used to work with Katie Hendricks quite a bit. She was my teacher and mentor for a long time. And one of her favorite things to do is have us get up and move around the room and say, I want. And to wait until we got the impulse of what we really wanted, something that came through us, that felt authentic and resonant with us before we could move again. And sometimes I would stand there and think, I have no idea what I want. I have no idea what I want. Because I grew up in one of those families where my mom said, you want too much. You always want something, like it was a bad thing. Now, if somebody said to me, you always want something, I would say, yes, I do. I'm shooting off a rocket of desire. Yes, it's only as we're able to identify those wants, embody them, embrace them, bring our thought and our feeling level into alignment with them, that we can begin to imagine. And it takes the power of faith and the power of our imagination coupled together to bring that forth, to demonstrate our desire, to manifest what we want. And it can be a lot of fun, or it can be like, oh my gosh, this is so much work. The choice is always ours. Personally, I like the fun way. Charles Fillmore says, oh, sensation is losing its end. There's probably something to that, metaphysically. This is from Charles Fillmore's idea of well-balanced well-beingness. He says it takes sensation, intuition, thoughts, and feelings. So sensation, our senses, our five senses. Can you touch something that you have manifested? Can you hear it? Something that someone else manifested. But I'm manifesting the sound right now. Do you like it or not like it? Different people have different ideas about it. Yeah. Charles Fillmore says that each of our five senses also have an inner type of expression, not just being able to hear something with our ears, but there's a hearing of a resonance. There's a hearing of spiritual principle. There's a hearing of what is true for us. Oh, that's true for me. And that's exactly what happened to me when I was sitting in Reverend Dr. Paul Hesselbeck's class, and I heard the statement from E.B. Ingram. I heard it. I heard it on a different level than my ears. I heard it in my mind, past my intellect. Here we have our thoughts. So I heard it past my intellect. I heard it as a possibility, a potentiality. And that was new for me. And I can still remember internally the moment that it occurred. And that's another opening for me in terms of prosperity. I've had many more, and I've had some prior to that. There was a time in my life I was living in New York City, and I didn't have very much money at the time. I had chosen a job that I wanted over a job that would make more money. I wanted to have more joy than I wanted the money. So joy was more important to me. So at the end of the month, things got a little tight. One day, it was close to the end of the month, I'm walking up the street on Broadway, and I looked down, and there's some money, and I reached down, and I picked it up, and I thought, oh, it's probably going to be $1 or $2. I opened it up, and it was $40. It was $40. That was a lot back in the 80s. It went a lot further. And what I began to discover as I was more open to prosperity is when I look back, prosperity has always come to me. It's come to me with health. It's come to me with success. It's come to me with joy. It's come to me with love. Long time ago, and I was living in Hawaii, so this had to be more like in the 2005 to 2013 time. I was handed a big old package of Abraham Hicks CDs. And I thought, oh, this is channeled stuff, and I threw it in my trunk. I didn't really want to listen to it. Eventually, I was cleaning out my car, and I took it upstairs and put it on my dresser. And then here comes another group of CDs. And by this time, I'd given that first group of CDs away. So this is starting to tell you something about me. It takes a little while for me to get it. So I gave that second, it was a stack of CDs. I gave that second stack of CDs away, and somebody else comes along and says, here, Nickie, I think you would really enjoy this. So I take them, got back upstairs, out of my car and upstairs on my dresser. And one day I'm going to take a trip that's going to take me about an hour. In Hawaii, there's not a lot of those, but I was taking a around the island trip, and I thought, oh, I'm going to take these CDs, I'm going to put one in. And I started listening to it. I was like, I love this. So again, it's that moment when I was ready to hear something new. There's a moment, and I still remember that. And I tell you what, as I listened to Abraham's stuff, and as I started to see how much those CDs cost, I realized that I had been given prosperity that I did not recognize over and over and over. And I had just been like passing prosperity on, which is actually a spiritual principle. When we give, it returns to us. So somebody had given to me, and I had passed it on. And eventually these, I don't even know if they're the same CDs or different ones, but they came back to me. But eventually I began to open my mind to something new. So my senses went from simply being part of my humanness to opening up to the fact that I'm spirit also. And like I said, I was a little bit of a slow learner, but I got it. And I am sure that where I stand today in my consciousness, and remember, prosperity is consciousness, where I stand today in my consciousness is going to be different than where I stand when I stand before you in a year from now, and I talk about prosperity, I talk about health, I talk about money, I talk about success, I talk about our divinity, whatever it is, because I will have grown. And hopefully it won't take 3 or 4 or 5 people giving me the same book, which can happen. And remember, we have a bookstore back here. But if that's what it takes, that's what it takes. Remember, Moses wandered in the wilderness for 40 years, as long as it takes metaphysically. So if we don't get it the first time, I guarantee you, the universe, God, Spirit, whatever you want to call it, will offer you another opportunity. And if you don't get it that time, you'll be offered another opportunity and another opportunity. Sensation moves to intuition. At some point, we begin to realize, hey, I'm a spiritual being. There's something about spirit that's in me. And then we move to our intuition, that inner knowing from our hearts, that inner knowing that something's going to happen. Have you ever had the intuition not to turn down a particular street and later you found out the reasoning? Sometimes we know and sometimes we don't know. Or have you ever had the intuition when the phone rang that you knew who it was and you picked it up and you said hello and there it is? And I know this is when people's numbers run across, our names and numbers run across our phone. But I used to have that happen, or I'd be thinking about somebody and they would show up. So my intuition was already in play. Our thoughts are the inlet and the outlet of our creation. We take thoughts in. Sometimes we agree with them, so we hang them on our hang tags in our mind, or sometimes we don't and we toss them. And that's okay. And sometimes I will come back and I'll watch a movie that I used to really love and I think, why did I ever like that movie? Because I've moved past that place in consciousness. We are growing, we are expanding. And then our feelings. There's two creation stories in Genesis. The first one is in the first chapter of Genesis, and that's the one where God creates all this beautiful stuff and declares it good, and then creates mankind. The Bible will say man, but it's mankind, human beings in the image of and as the likeness of God. That's in the first creation story. Now, in the second chapter of Genesis, there's a second creation story. And all of these things are created, which are good. And then God creates Adam, which actually means mankind. But God creates Adam. We think about the Adam and Eve story, mankind. And then says, oh, you're going to be all alone. You need a helper. And so puts Adam to sleep, and from the rib fashions Eve. So thoughts are considered male, Adam. Our thoughts are male. Our feelings are female. And that doesn't mean that, all these feelings that we have are negative. But they were meant to be metaphysically in association with each other, thoughts and feelings. And somehow in the literature of unity, when Charles Fillmore said, thoughts and feelings held in mind produce similar thoughts and feelings, the feelings part got dropped out. But in order to be well balanced, Charles Fillmore said we have to be able to understand our senses. We have to be able to follow our intuition. We have to be able to corral our thoughts and feelings. That's my word, not his. Corral our thoughts and feelings. So we're allowing our thoughts and our feelings to be working in relationship with our intuition so that we can manifest exactly what we want. And we have to get them in alignment, because have you ever had the thought, I am prosperous? And then the feeling over here says, oh, I feel so scared that there's not enough. I feel scared. I'm prosperous. Oh, I feel like I'm not a very good person. Do you ever have that, that sort of out of alignment? I used to have it a lot more. I'm grateful that I have it as little as I have it now. I will have it as much as I do. But I'm working on balancing all of this together. That's what's happening. We're working on balancing ourselves as human beings, having a spiritual experience, living in a on a planet that listens to, that is, our desires are activated by our thoughts and our feelings. A clear intention with an elevated emotion is how we demonstrate or manifest something. But the clear intention and the elevated emotion takes concentration. And that's the piece that sometimes is not talked about. We have to really spend time in prayer and meditation concentrating on our thoughts and our feelings. We have to take the time to notice, this is a level of self-awareness, to notice when my thoughts or my feelings, either one, are out of alignment with my true nature. And if it's true of God, it's true of me. If it's true of God, it's true of you. So we can truly open to that level of prosperity within us. Charles Fillmore says, the spiritual substance from which comes all visible wealth is never depleted. God is infinite, and God is substance. The principle is substance. It's never depleted. It's hard for me sometimes to imagine that. It's hard for me sometimes to wrap my mind around infiniteness. And the place that I can do it most often is in meditation. So spiritual substance, which comes from all, let me start over. The spiritual substance from which comes all visible wealth is never depleted. It is right with you all the time and responds to your faith in it and your demands on it. So it takes our faith. We have to believe, we have to hold that conviction that there are things that we cannot see, that we have a hope for, and there are things that we cannot see. There are energies at play that we may be unaware of. So it is right with us. Substance is always with us all the time. It's not a substance, God, is not affected by our ignorant talk of hard times. Get that word? And I'm not trying to call you ignorant. But ignorant means our lack of understanding. When we don't understand the spiritual principles of prosperity, then we show our lack of understanding. So it's not, substance is not, God is not affected by our ignorant talk of hard times, though we are affected because our thoughts and words govern our demonstration. So when I say something like, I can't afford that, then I am showing that I don't understand. The abundance is already mine. That it's there, that I have to do the work of the spiritual practice to be open to it. I have to do the work to get to that frequency. That's my task. And then the next question is, am I willing to do it? Some days, there have been times in my life I'm like, oh, this is just too much more than I can handle. But some days, and those are few days, the rest of the time, I have fun with it. As we've been taking this class, which is done now, Reverend Mindy and I would often drive home from here and be declaring, just like I invited you to do, I am prosperity. And there was one day I just didn't feel like it. Just didn't want to do it. And you know, the beautiful thing is she declared it anyway. And 10 times, maybe 20, I don't know, but she declared it anyway. So I'm in the car and I am surrounded by prosperous energy. I'm surrounded by these words that have a frequency and a meaning to them. I am surrounded by creativity. And I'm like, oh, I just want to go home and eat. Sometimes we are like that. The beautiful thing is, I was in that energy anyway. And so that opportunity will come back around to invite me into recognizing that I am prosperity. That energy will come back around. And that I have within me the capacity and the power to create that which I desire. So here's my question to you. Instead of leaving you with the affirmation, I'm going to leave you with the question today. Can I accept that God's unlimited prosperity is for me? Can you accept that God's unlimited prosperity is for you? You don't have to answer that to me. Answer it for yourself. Can you accept that God's unlimited prosperity, and whatever prosperity is for you, whether it's love or success, it's money, there's nothing wrong with money. Money is great stuff. Is it hope? Is prosperity for you finding a different level of understanding of who you are? Is it that willingness to stand in your divine nature? What is it for you? And then answering the question, can I accept that God's unlimited blank is for me? And how would you fill in that blank? Can you accept it? Let's take that into a time of meditation, a time of reflection. Can I accept the unlimitedness of the prosperity that is all around me? Am I willing to open to it? Am I willing to step past the appearance of something and embrace the truth of the universe? The teacher Jesus said, it is God's good pleasure to give us the consciousness of all that we desire. That as we come forth and ask from a state of consciousness of God, it will be given. Our calling is to use our concentration, to use our principles, to stand in the presence and the power that is available to us in this moment and in every moment. Are you willing? Are you willing? What a beautiful opening. And if you're not willing right now, give yourself credit and celebrate yourself for knowing what you want. And then let's move for a few moments into the sacred and the holy silence. Take your answer and imagine yourself writing it on a piece of paper and tucking it in your heart, knowing that the word is a lamp unto our feet and a light on our path, and that word, whatever it is true for you today. It's true for you today. And as you live your life, let it open and expand. Let yourself look around and say, am I missing something that's right in front of me? And if you can do it from a curious and mischievous and joyful way, let it come forth. What would I be able to see if I were open to seeing greater prosperity? What would be different in my life if I were open to something bigger than I have now? Beautiful questions to carry with you, to live into the answers of as we move forth in this day. I'm going to ask that the lights begin to come up, and I want want you to remember that whatever your experience was in meditation, we can create more of that or less of that. The choice is always ours. And I want you to look around at the prosperity that is here in this room, right here, right now. And I want you to listen to the words that I'm going to say. Father, Mother, birther and breath of all, create a space in me and fill it with your presence. Let oneness now prevail. Your one desire now flows through ours as energy fills our form. Give us each day our physical and spiritual nourishment. Untangle the knots of error that bind us as we release others. Don't let appearances make us forgetful of the source, but free us to embrace all of the harmonies of life. For through this process opens up the fertile ground from which our future grows. Amen and amen, meaning so be it, so be it, so be it.
I invite you all to take a deep breath now and embody what we just heard, what we just felt. That's mine, that's yours. And I have to thank Reverend Mindy for setting me, or Reverend Nickie, sorry, for setting up my whole little piece that I do about giving. Falls right in line, because we give as source. We just learned, once again, reminded that we are source. And when we give as source, it is unlimited, and it comes back to us that way. And we are so grateful for every bit of giving of your time, of your talents, and of course of your treasures. And here at Unity, there are several ways to give. We have the Give Online app, so you can get online and use our Banco app out there. We also have red buckets at all the doors. We don't pass the bag, but please drop your gifts in there. And oh, by the way, if you came without cash or checks, the bookstore would gladly take your card back there. That's another way to support the beautiful work that this ministry does. And I would say, look around and how abundant we are. It's how I started this morning. We are together. We have thrived as a community. We have more than survived. We are thriving. And we thank you for supporting all that. So now, if you would take your gifts in your hands, in your hearts, and in your minds, and consecrate and dedicate them to the work that this ministry does. And say with me our offering blessing. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And another deep breath, embodying that. That is yours, that is mine. We thank you for the gifts, but we are so grateful for all of the givers.
told his story to the world, he died. These are the words he said. He said, do all you can with what you have, in the time you have, in the place you are. Do all you can. Do all you can with what you have, in the time you have, in the place you are. Do all you can. Do all you can. Ah, 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 ah. Holy Mother from India, helping the sick and the poor. Somebody asked, why do you do these things? She said, this is what I came here for. She said, do all you can with what you have, in the time you have, in the place you are. Do all you can. Do all you can with what you have, in the time you have, in the place you are. Do all you can. Do all you can. Ah, 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 ah. Ah, 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 this is the gift they gave to us, to share wherever we go. Be the change you want to see in the world. Now I understand what they wanted us to know. You gotta do all you can with what you have, in the time you have, in the place you are. Do all you can. Do all you can with what you have, in the time you have, in the place you are. Do all you can. Do all you can. One little boy from Africa, do all you can. Holy Mother from India, do all you can. Be the change you want to see in the world. Do all you can. Do all you can. Do all you can.
And thank our online viewers. We want you to know here at Unity of Mesa, your presence does make a difference to be a part of this community the way you are. Thank you for joining us.